I'm John Farquharson from Walmore Farm, Seasden in the West Midlands. We've got about 550 acres that we farm, mainly potatoes and spinach, sometimes lettuce, winter barley, spring barley, wheat, occasional oilseed rape and the grass lays that you see here now. We're trying to do the best we can and get the best crops, and that's why we're doing the grass lays. We like to rest the soil. We don't believe in intensively farming each field every year. We like to give them a break. The mix we mainly use is the 2 to 4 year lay, which is the soil structure and humus builder. We tend to leave that down for 2 years because we feel if you only have it for 1 year, it doesn't maybe do enough for the soil, so we leave it for 2. What we normally do is we'd have a crop of winter barley, we'd chop the straw, then we'd go and plough it, then we'd drill it, and then we'd roll it in, then obviously let it grow. And then throughout the season we'll top it off however many times we need to establish the crop in a proper manner, just knock any weeds out that might come, sort of into the situation. In those 2 years there's no sprays and no fertilisers, tractors, cultivations. I mean, there's no heavy tractors going along it, across it. So it has a, it has an ultimate rest. So we think that's better really for the soil. The soil type is sandy loam predominantly around here. Now that sort of soil needs feeding, it needs manures, it needs grass lays, it needs chopped straw to actually grow something. If you didn't look after this soil, it's quite light, you wouldn't get crops. I mean, we've been using these mixes for well over 10 years now, and we do feel that we're having better crops, from doing this. Better skin finish, better samples of potatoes, more uniform size, that sort of thing. And I mean, we're always sampling soils. And we have noticed beneficiaries in it really. We've seen better minerals brought up by the deep rooting chicory. We're a big fan of that. You've got the red clover, which is fixing nitrogen back into the soil. Our rough estimations are we think we end up with 50 units of nitrogen after the 2 years of grass lay are left, and they can go straight into the potato crop. The crop can keep taking the nitrogen as it needs it. With artificial fertilisers, obviously you sow them on the field. Well, after a week or two or however long, they sort of run out, but this stuff is there for the whole season. Since 2002, we've chopped all our straw with the combinable crops. I mean, before that we did used to bale it up and take it off, but we thought with fertiliser prices going up, and also, we just wanted to tie in with more organic matter, building the humus up in the soil. So with chopping the straw and with these grass lays, it's like a duo together, and it seems to work very well. You're almost muck spreading as well as combining, if you want to put it like that, in a roundabout way, and it's composting down into the soil, and it's like a big cycle, and it all ties in really. Let me just show you in the field a little bit then. Obviously we've got the chicory, and the red clover, which is obviously now it's September. That's obviously going off, sort of dying back a bit naturally, and then obviously the Cotswold as well. Now, if you want to have a look down in the bottom, it's quite thick, so it keeps all the weeds at bay. If I just gather this is quite a good example. You can see some of what we've topped off before. So this is what the humus. You're getting like bits of straw, bits of chopped straw, bits of dead grass. Which is what we're trying to do, and then, you're getting all this in the soil, roots, fibre, rather than just bare soil on its own. You can see like humus, fibre, which is knitting all the soil together, and all this thick crop gets just ploughed straight back in. We don't take any bales off here, so we just plough the whole lot back in. Hopefully the soil will reap the benefit, and we'll reap the benefit with our crops. Better yields and stops erosion. It's just better all round, really, isn't it? We seem to think it's good for the environment because, no sprays, no fertilisers, no compaction on the land. It should, in theory, create a habitat for the wildlife over those 2 years, really, because you've got such a thick mass of crop. And we do like to look after the environment. I mean, at the end of the day, with no environment, we couldn't be farming here. So animals, the wildlife environment, we think it's a plus point. And we're actually doing big fields of this, so it's not just margins around the edges. In both cases, drought or wet seasons, this stuff is the stuff to have. I'll give you an example. Actually, on this field that we're in 2012, very wet potato year, very wet the whole season, hardly had any sunshine. Now, we still managed to get a very good yield off here, and we were able to get the harvesters on and lift when a lot of people around here couldn't actually harvest. So we were able to get more money for the potatoes, which you know, made it all even more worthwhile than what we thought was going to happen. So definitely, you know, it helps with drainage. You know, the worms are working better. You know, they've got stuff to feed on that. They'll shift the water off the fields faster. And then with droughts, it did so much better. You know, it'll hold on to whatever moisture you have got in the soil. It will hold on to it longer than if you weren't doing this sort of these lays, if you know what I mean. So really, you can't go wrong with it, really. We use Cotswold seeds, and we think they're the best ones, really. The service is very good. You know, you can get the seed the next day. That's very good. And the mixes seem to suit this land, this sandy loam. You know, having tried others, this seems to be the best. We seem to get the best results from this one. So we're happy with that.